Well, that was fun. My InDesign just disappeared. So I'm just going to do a quick setup here. Give this 4 pages. Yes.
What's the page size?
A4.
A4?
A4. Yeah, A4. So in the United States, 8.5 by 11 is the pretty much de facto standard.
A4 is 8 by 11.
Yeah. In Europe and pretty much everywhere else, A4. A4 is a better page size. It's slightly smaller than 8.5 by 11, but it divides and multiplies into bigger and smaller sheets really nicely, and it honors the golden rectangle. It is a golden rectangle, actually, the width versus height dimensions. That's the A4, but you know, America, right? We got to do it our own way. We got to do it the hard way. All right, so for those of you that are just here for the refresher, I've created 4 pages, and I'm going to go and grab this text file. And I'm going to go ahead and drop it into the first page here. Actually, I'm going to move this to the second page. Groovy. So, get rid of that. Does anyone have Craig prior to this class? Has he ever mentioned that his computer sometimes just doesn't respond when he clicks on something?
Yes, he's had a lot of issues with that.
Mine has been doing that. It's whack, man.
It's not just you.
Yay, I'm always happy to hear that it's not just me. So my page 1, here's the cover, and I'm going to go to page 2 where my content is. And what I need to do is I need to get these across multiple pages. Now, right now, the text is so tiny that it all fits on one page, but it's definitely not. It's not helpful, and we have some cleanup that needs to happen, and that was kind of on purpose. We've got some weird characters in here, and so what I need to do is go through and remove those. And turn it into a hard return. So what makes the table of contents work is the paragraph styles that we use to identify what stuff is. That's interesting. what stuff is going to be included in that table of contents. So right now, we have our appetizers, our mains, and then our desserts and drinks all on one page. And so having a table of contents would be kind of nonsense, right? But as these items get styled and the text gets bigger, this is going to flow into subsequently later pages, and that's when our table of contents is going to be useful. So the first thing I want to do is I want to set up a paragraph style for everything called body copy. So I'm going to go ahead and just select everything, so when I create this paragraph style, I can apply it immediately. And I'm going to start with, for me, what is it? Source Sans Pro, I think, is the one we've been using. Variable, Source Sans variable. And you, of course, can do whatever typeface you would like. This is just where I'm going to start. And I'm going to go with a base size of 14 points there. All right, so that's my first paragraph style, is body copy. I'm going to now just select one of the headings, and I'm going to create a new paragraph style, and I'm going to call this section title. It's based on body copy. Give it a basic character format that makes it bold. And I'm going to double my body copy size to 28 from 14. There we go. Cool. And then I can select the other section titles and apply the paragraph style to them. Already, we're starting to make sense of this. Right. Now I'm going to create a new paragraph style. Also, I'm going to mute my phone. Sorry about that. My wife is at the courthouse today. There's an immigration case, and she's gonna do something drastic, she said. So she just texted me to say that her phone is back on again because the court's delayed. But she's texted me all the attorneys I'm supposed to contact if she gets arrested.
Oh no.
Yeah. She's a Viking, I'll tell you what. All right, so each item I'm going to create another paragraph style for. So I've got my basic body copy, which covers everything, but what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to take this price, right, and move it all the way over to the right-hand side. Now, doing it this way is madness, because what if I decide I want to add something in here, like we're going to put a little the fat content maybe. Now the price is wrapped, and then I'll have to go back and bring this back over, and it's never going to be right at the edge. So we're going to use a paragraph style to accomplish that, just like we've been using for the table of contents. So right now we have this dash here. So I'm going to go up to this first one, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the dash space dash, and I'm going to hit the tab key. And the reason we're going to do that is we're going to hook into the tab key to format the location of this price. And I'm going to apply that formatting just to the first line, because after the number 1, this second line right here is the definition or the description of that, and I don't want to apply it to that. And in fact, I might want this a little tiny bigger than that text below there. So let's go ahead and create a new paragraph style first. So I'm going to click the plus sign over here while that text is selected, and then I'm going to select my new paragraph style. Even if I double click it, The fact that you're double clicking it is applying it to whatever text is selected there. So whatever changes I make to this paragraph style, because I've double clicked it to edit it, it's going to show up as long as I've got preview engaged. And I'm going to call this item name and price. Why not? And my basic character formats now, to get a heading out of a 14-point body copy size, we doubled that. So if we were at 12 points, we would have had a 28-point heading, and we're at 14 points, so we had a if we were 12, we would have had 24, but because we're 14, it's at 28. We're going to go in between that, and we're going to bump this up to, let's do 18. Is that too big? That might be too big. I'm going to go 16. That's not big enough. Let's try 17. I like that. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go back to 16. And I'm going to change it from regular to semi-bold. Give it a little extra weight. Hey, I like that. That's good. Okay. So I'm going to click OK, and then I'm going to go to each numbered line that has a price in it, and I'm going to apply the item name and price paragraph style. So triple click that line, item name and price, or you can just click into the line. Because it's a paragraph style, it will apply it to the whole line. So I'm only doing that for the item name and price. Cool. Not bad, we're getting closer. One thing that is kind of not the jam right now is how tight everything is packed in. I want to give this a little breathing room. And specifically where I want the room to be breathing is after or before this item name and price. I'm going to give me a little bit of space there. And so I'm going to go back, make sure nothing is selected now, and I'm going to double click item name and price. And I'm going to go to my indents and spacing, paragraph. Where is it?
Is it justification?
No. I always lose this. Oh yes, indents and spacing. I was right. I'm used to seeing it up on the menu at the top there that looked funky. Okay. Anyway, indents and spacing. And I want to do a space before, because an indent pushes it over like that, right? And we may want to do that with something else. But for right now, what we want to do is bump up the space before. And if I go to 0.125, look at that. We start getting some space in there. Let's go 0.1875 on this. That's not terrible. I'll click OK. All right. So we're starting to get a little bit of definition. I'm going to try something here in the body copy under indents and spacing. I'm going to indent these lines. I'm going to indent everything, and then I'm going to go back to section title, indents and spacing, and I'm going to pull this back to 0. And I'm going to do the same thing on item name and price. I'm just experimenting. This might be terrible. Oh, I'm going to cancel that. Nope. I don't like the way that looked. Okay, we're going to keep going. So for item name and price, now we need to go to our tabs, and I'm going to grab a right justified tab, and I'm going to click right here onto my ruler, and I'm going to drag it over to the right until I get that right at the right-hand side. It should be about 7.5. There we go. And if you want, you can actually manually put that at 7.5 inches by typing 7.5 there. And then I'm going to hit period in the leader field, and now I've got the leader. There we go. And now if I go back, why didn't that update? Oh, because we don't have any tabs. All right, so I'm going to get rid of the space dash space and replace it with a tab. And now every time I do that, because that paragraph style is applied. All right, so far so good. And then the very last thing I want to do on the body copy, I want to, on the right-hand side, I don't like that the body copy goes all the way underneath the line there. And so I'm going to increase the right. Oh, that's going to affect everything else because it's, let's just do the, that's not going to work. All right, we're going to cancel that. All right, so that's the basics of it. And then if you want, to make your section title, interesting. Oh, it isn't spacing. We're going to change from left align to center. And then I'm going to add an extra space after and space before. Cool. So page 2 now has overset text. Because we've pushed everything down lower than we have room for. So if I click on that little overset text to the outflow indicator, go to page 3, click in the upper left-hand corner here, and now it flows into page 3. Okay, so the setup has to be done first before we do our table of contents. So all of that, now we can go to page 1. Here comes the table of contents part. So I go to Layout, Table of Contents. And for the title, I'm going to change this to Categories, because this is going to be categories of food. The paragraph style, I'm going to apply the section title style to that name, categories. And then what I want it to index or show up in this list is anything that is the section title. So I'll select section title, I'll add that. And we're going to allow it to create a new table of contents style for that body text. And then click OK. And then I just drag out. Now I have my table of contents. And then if I want to, I can double click my TOC body text. I can have it based on item name and price, which gives us my leading dots, but then I can override the tabs and bring it back to something that's a little more appropriate for where we're at here. That works. Now, one thing to keep in mind when you're creating this is that when you do the table of contents, you want to make sure that create PDF bookmarks is selected. If that's not selected, then when you export as a PDF, you're going to have to make sure that you enable PDF bookmarks in the PDF. But sometimes if you don't do it here, it doesn't export them correctly. So we always want to make sure that we create the PDF bookmarks. What that means is that when this goes out to a PDF, I can then click on one of those lines and it will jump to that page. It puts the bookmark stuff inside of the PDF file, so it makes it active. All right.
So it doesn't show you before that, like when we're in this right here, it doesn't show you.
Bless you.
You can't tell?
No, so you have to actually export.
That is my question.
Yeah, export to a PDF. It works as print, but it's usually a good idea to choose interactive just in case. And yep, and then click export. And there it is.